Hi everybody, how we doing? Welcome to the first video within Expedition League itself. 3.15 has shown the heck on up, and it's got a lot of factionalized opinions and a lot of people either loving it or hating it. All of that, though, the patch as a whole, I'm going to be digging into in a future video. I feel that I should take the time to collect and collate my thoughts a little bit more and get them really, really well organized before I actually sort of officially comment on the whole thing. For now, though, I did want to get some stuff out to you folks, and I figured a update on my progress into the league, as well as my thoughts on Expedition the Mechanic, would probably be of interest to y'all. So, without further ado, let's get into that. So, the build is going rather well, surprisingly well, given that I still don't have a Geoffrey's Legacy. It's not for lack of trying, though. Thank you for the follow while I was recording. It's not for lack of trying, though. A Geoffrey's Legacy nor the Bishop's Legacy Prophecy have been listed on hardcore trade since the inception of the league. I've had a live search up the whole time the league has been running. Not a single one has popped up. I've been setting aside some currency to be able to purchase it if one does show up. Hopefully it does soon. That said, I am setting up for some silver coin strats, so I'll just grind it myself. If one doesn't show up, I'll get it my goddamn self. I've also been blowing some chaos on silver coins here or there. But as far as other progress, I'm into yellow maps. I think the highest tier map I've done is a tier 9 so far, so we're hitting higher tier yellow maps. I have been going a little bit slower than usual because the game is a bit harder now, and I've just been taking it slow so that I don't end up on a RIP compilation somewhere on YouTube. And I have actually swapped over to a Holy Relic setup. I had initially planned on not bothering to do Holy Relics in any capacity until I had the helmet, but I was getting pretty bored of the SRS leveling. It was effective, I just was getting kind of bored of it. So towards the end of the story, after finishing Merc Lab in Act 10, I swapped over to Holy Relics and Zombies, and I have not looked back. It's been wonderful. I have incorporated some utility specters as well. But in the 5-link chess piece here, we have our raised zombie setup that is supported by Meat Shield. We've got Fortify, Feeding Frenzy for the global buff, and Predator, because there's not that many other good supports. I didn't really want minion damage here. We could get Multi-Strike, but at the time I didn't have very many chromes. I actually have a decent pile of them now, so I should probably recolor this for Multi-Strike, so kind of forgot about that. But yeah, we've got the 5-link zombies there, and in the helmet with +2 minion gems is where the Holy Relic is living. That's got Predator, Controlled Destruction, Meat Shield, and Holy Relic. I was going to use Brutality, but I actually found a Spectre that gives 20% of Fizz gain as extra lightning to nearby allies, and that made me drop the Brutality for the Meat Shield support instead. Because 1, I needed the survivability on the minions, and 2, that allows me to then take advantage of the Spectre, which is called a Baronite Cleric, for those of you who are wondering. Anyways, I didn't need to get into all the specifics of the build. We do want to get to my expedition thoughts at some point. So, what else about the build is interesting? I said I had a plan for farming silver coins. That is twofold. I have set up my Maven passives in Tyrn's End for exotic goods, and I'm going to run maps pretty much exclusively in Tyrn's End for probably a couple hours tomorrow. And the invasion bosses here have a habit of dropping stacks of between 6 and 12 silver coins when you kill them sometimes, so that should generate me a bunch. And while doing that, I'll also generate heists and hopefully generate the perception heist that I'll need to farm silver coins out of heist. So we're going to be attacking it from 2 different directions, as well as just purchasing silver coins whenever some show up that are cheap enough to justify. And I'm going to brute force getting the helmet myself. Anyways, that's pretty much the state of the build, the state of where I'm at in terms of the league. As I said, not a lot of progression on Watchstones. I've only done 2 rounds of Conquerors, only getting into yellow maps. Probably going to be doing red maps and progression into higher reds after I get the helmet and a staff crafted. So maybe tomorrow or the day after. But still going to aim to do endgame bosses within the first week, which is fine in my opinion. Obviously not the fastest to get there, but I'm perfectly happy with it. As far as my thoughts on Expedition, let's get down into that. The obvious thing first, this has been said by many people, but it does bear repeating. The many different currencies seem to me to be unnecessary. The clicking that they give you, the task of clicking that they give you aside, the complexity of this many different currencies just makes me really unwilling to meaningfully engage with any of them. I don't get excited when I see, X currency drop or Y currency drop or something in the same way that I would get excited for, or more excited for a Regal than I would a Chaos. In my mind, all of these currencies are just, that's the League mechanic currency, and they blend together, and I honestly don't even know what I'm clicking on and what I'm picking up. It's just this big ol' wall of different arbitrarily named League mechanic currencies, and because there's this amorphous sludge of currencies, I just can't bring myself to give a shit about any individual one. If there were instead only one currency per vendor, and I could then more easily remember which currency is tied to which vendor, I might get excited when I see the currency drop for the vendor that I like. But that's just not how it's working right now. I can't bring myself to put in the mental energy to memorize each one of these things, so just mindlessly click on them all and hope I get something useful is the current strategy, and will probably be the strategy I maintain for the rest of the league. The other thing, while we're on the topic of the vendor currencies, the reset currencies for their windows are too darn rare at the moment. I would personally prefer an entire rework to the system. I don't think the reset currencies are a very elegant way of handling the problem that they solve, but they get the job done. So if you just increased the drop rate, it would probably suffice to alleviate this problem and to be a lot easier than redesigning it from the ground up. So hopefully that happens, but we'll see. Though, let's move on to some positives. I really like the planning of the explosion chains and trying to order it correctly so that you're getting maximum benefits as the chain goes on. Because if you weren't aware, when you get one of the benefits, so say the thing, you find an explosion that gives you 15% cold pen, but chance for monsters to drop currency items, which is one of the more valuable, or one of the more consistent ones that I find. You want to plan your chain so that happens first. So all the monsters that proc after it are more likely, or capable, I guess, of dropping additional currency items. And it's neat to be able to, actually meaningfully have decisions matter in such a way that you want to path around a certain way through the mechanic. That's cool. I can't really think of another mechanic aside maybe from Synthesis that did that, and Synthesis did that with a lot of other stuff tacked on. This is, much, much simpler. And probably much, much more palatable for more people as a result. And on top of that, sort of the extra large version of that is the logbooks, which are just amazing. Logbooks are really, really fun. The itemized expeditions, though they do seem to be pretty rare. I'd say about as rare as blueprint drops. Overall, the mechanic seems pretty good, despite my initial complaints at the top of this section. It's just two small things that I'm kind of annoyed about, but the rest of it I like. So I'd give it maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I don't think that I'll be remembering Expedition as one of my favorite League mechanics ever, but it's fun. I enjoy it. And I don't really see it souring too quickly for me. Anyways, like I said, if you want my further thoughts on the patch notes as a whole, that video will be coming out in the next couple of days. I just need some time to get all of my thoughts in coherent order. That will probably be a fully scripted video because I want to make sure I communicate myself well on that topic. I think it's a very important topic. But hopefully you enjoyed this video for now, and if you want to check out the stream, you can obviously go ahead and do that with a link in the description below, live every day but Sunday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.